Welcome to the Western Big Branch Area Plan, March 2024 public meeting. The Western Big Branch study area is displayed in yellow. The plan is needed because substantial development has occurred around the study area. Property owners and residents have requested involvement for the future of the study area, and the Big Branch pump station and force main project could increase development opportunities. This plan will ultimately inform possible revisions to the 2045 land use map and the 2045 transportation plan. The main purpose of this presentation is to provide information that will help the public review and provide input on alternative land use and transportation scenarios for the Western Big Branch Area Plan. The presentation will include an abbreviated summary of input gathered during the August 2023 open houses, the draft study area vision and goals, an introduction to the 3 plan amendment scenarios with guidance on how to review and provide input, information on additional plan recommendations, and next steps in the planning process. The planning process has been divided into 4 major phases. Phase 1 included gathering data and community input. Phase 2 involved developing draft plan amendment scenarios. We are currently in Phase 3, which involves presenting the draft plan amendment scenarios to the community for input. The final phase of the process will be to revise the plan based on the input received during these meetings and present the revised plan to Planning Board and Town Council. 2 public open houses were held in August 2023 to gather initial community input. A detailed summary of input is available on the plan website. Key points will be highlighted on the next few slides. In terms of future land use preferences, open house attendees overwhelmingly preferred more rural and rural transition densities for residential development. Attendees would prefer to see less high density and medium high density residential development, but there was some interest in limited mixed housing options in the right places. For future non-residential and mixed-use development, open house attendees want to see more 1 to 2 story downtown, 1-story offices, and parks. Attendees want to see less large-scale commercial, industrial, and 2 to 3 story mixed use. Many comments were provided about desired transportation improvements. The most frequent vehicular comments were about safety and congestion on Friendship Road at Old US 1, congestion along Friendship Road or comments against the Friendship Road widening, comments to close or to convert the Friendship Road Bridge to a bicycle and pedestrian bridge, and congestion along Old US 1. The most frequent bicycle and pedestrian comments were about cycling safety and opportunities along Old US 1 and along Friendship Road. Attendees were asked to provide input to inform a vision and goals for the study area. Attendees shared that they love the rural farms, wildlife, and trees in the study area. They noted the study area needs less housing density, traffic, and development, and more bicycle facilities, traffic control, mixed housing, and public transit. The input provided during the August 2023 open houses was used to develop a draft vision and set of goals for the study area. The draft vision for the study area states, the Western Big Branch Area Plan envisions a future where the rural residential character of the study area is valued and actively protected. The unique history of the New Hill and Friendship communities is acknowledged and celebrated. New development is responsive to the needs of surrounding residents, and multimodal travel is safe and context sensitive. 10 draft goals are proposed for the study area. Goal 7 was added in response to public input provided on the draft goals through an online survey. The goals include preserve rural residential land, agriculture, and open space, maintain and enhance the tree canopy, protect water resources, honor the history of the Friendship and New Hill communities, encourage development of a small-scale downtown near the intersection of Hume Olive Road and Old US 1. Encourage development of grocery and convenience offerings near the intersection of New Hill Holloman Road and US 1. Encourage economic development along the Richardson Road corridor south of Old US 1 and at the future Richardson Road US 1 interchange. Improve the safety of area roadways for motorists, cyclists, and pedestrians. Mitigate the impact of surrounding development on existing roads and provide trails, greenways, and trailheads. An online survey to collect input on the draft vision and goals was published on the project website and open from October 25th to November 13th. A detailed summary of feedback is available on the plan website. 71 individuals participated. 82% of survey respondents indicated they either agree or strongly agree with the draft vision. 82% of survey respondents indicated they either agree or strongly agree with the draft goals. Please note that Goal 7 was added after the online survey was closed. The primary outcome of the Western Big Branch Area Plan is to develop possible recommendations to the 2045 Land Use Map and the 2045 Transportation Plan. The town is requesting community input on 3 different amendment scenarios. The 3 scenarios include different combinations of amendments to the 2045 Land Use Map, the 2045 Transportation Plan, and the Context Areas Map. The plan amendment scenarios were informed by the community input in the study area vision and goals. Overall, we have heard the community's preference is to maintain existing land uses in the study area and also improve the transportation network. The purpose of these plan amendment scenarios is to convey trade-offs. That is, transportation improvements within the study area would primarily be constructed through private development. Without development, transportation improvements will be limited. In general, as the scenario number increases from 1 to 3, the land use intensities increase and the transportation network expands. Scenario 1 emphasizes study area goals 1 and 2, which include preserve rural residential land, agriculture, and open space, and maintain and enhance the tree canopy. Scenario 3 emphasizes study area goals 7 through 9, which include encourage economic development along the Richardson Road corridor south of Old US 1 and at the future Richardson Road US 1 interchange. Improve the safety of area roadways for motorists, cyclists, and pedestrians, and mitigate the impact of surrounding development on existing roads. Scenario 2 attempts to balance preservation of existing land uses and transportation improvements. This is the transportation part of the map legend for the 3 scenario exhibits. The overall legend is divided into 3 major categories: bicycle and pedestrian facilities, roadway facilities, and land use map designations. Looking under the bicycle and pedestrian facilities column, greenways are wide trails, usually but not always paved, that are completely separated from a roadway. Street side greenways have similar features in terms of width, landscaping, and trailhead provisions, but they are adjacent to a roadway. A side path is a 10-foot paved path that is kind of like a wide sidewalk, except it is usually asphalt, adjacent and closer to the roadway than a street side greenway. Bicycle lanes are designated areas marked on the roadway adjacent to the travel lane or separated by a narrow buffer. Looking under the roadway facilities column, the first 6 descriptions with circles represent different types of intersection treatments. Then different roadway types are listed beginning with future local connection. These roadway types generally increase in width, capacity, and in some cases posted speed limit as you move down the list. Future local connections, minor collectors, major collectors, and 2-lane thoroughfares all have only 2 lanes. This is the land use part of the map legend for the 3 scenario exhibits. Under the 2045 land use map designations, the first 5 descriptions marked with circles represent different types of mixed-use economic development activity centers. Designations for the vision of future land use begin with protected open space. For residential land uses, potential density increases going down the list from rural to high-density residential. Following the high-density residential, different types of non-residential designations are listed. Areas that are envisioned to have a mix of at least 3 uses with at least 30% non-residential are outlined in blue. Meeting attendees will be provided a handout of this legend with explanations of each designation. The legend handout is also available online. Each scenario is going to appear on the screen. Please take a close look at the screen to notice the differences between each scenario. The scenario exhibits will also be on display at the meeting and available online for you to review more closely. The first exhibit is titled Adopted Plan, showing the current 2045 land use map and the current 2045 transportation plan. Scenario 1, titled Minimize Change. Under this scenario, land use intensities have generally decreased, especially in the Friendship area, aligning closer to existing conditions. Non-residential land uses are still shown at the future interchange of Richardson Road and US 1, but the high-density residential designation has been removed from this area. Additional medium-density residential has been added along New Hill-Holloman Road. There are limited roadway widenings. Both Friendship Road and Pleasant Plains Road are shown as 2-lane thoroughfares consistent with existing conditions. Without development, widening, curb and gutter, sidewalk, and bicycle lanes would likely not be constructed along these roadways. New Hill-Holloman Road and the future extension of Richardson Road, 2 critical thoroughfares on the town's overall plan, are still shown as 4 lanes with bicycle and pedestrian facilities. Bicycle lanes are proposed along New Hill-Holloman Road. The planned alignment of Richardson Road south of Old US 1 and the location of the interchange with US 1 has shifted west, consistent with regional studies and to minimize stream impacts. There are fewer collector streets connecting thoroughfares. Collector streets are only shown where connectivity is critical and land use designations would provide an opportunity for their construction. There are fewer bicycle lanes given development would be minimized and there would not be an opportunity for their construction. Bicycle lanes are still shown along new major collector streets. Proposed side path has been extended along Old US 1 highway. A general concept of a transit connection between downtown Apex and Pleasant Park is depicted in the call-out. Fixed route transit serving most of the study area is not proposed given the designation of rural and rural transition residential densities for most of the study area. This exhibit displays a proposed amendment to the context areas map under Scenario 1 titled Minimize Change. Advance Apex, the town's 2045 transportation plan, separated the town of Apex planning area into 4 context types: rural, suburban, transit-oriented development, and town center. These contexts are used to describe the development style, travel mode priorities, and street design considerations. Under Scenario 1, the rural context has extended east to include Friendship Road between the railroad tracks and US 1. The rural context designation currently ends at New Hill-Holloman Road. Including Friendship Road in the rural context allows the 2-lane rural thoroughfare roadway design to be used if changes are made to this roadway. The 2-lane rural thoroughfare design includes paved shoulder, a wide ditch, and sidewalk on each side of the roadway. There are no proposed amendments to the context areas map under Scenarios 2 or 3. Scenario 2, titled Incremental Change. Under this scenario, land use designations are more consistent with the adopted 2045 land use map, with the exception of the removal of the high-density residential designation at the US 1 Richardson Road interchange, and the designation of the area around Silver Stirrup Lane as rural residential. The medium-density residential designation along New Hill-Holloman Road is retained from Scenario 1. Additional medium-density residential is shown near the future Richardson Road US 1 interchange. There are proposed collector streets between future Richardson Road and Friendship Road and between Friendship Road and Pleasant Plains Road. These streets would include bicycle and pedestrian facilities. Friendship Road is shown as a 3-lane thoroughfare. This designation provides an opportunity for either a center turn lane or left turn lanes and a center median, bicycle lanes, and sidewalks. It also recognizes that 4 lanes are not anticipated to be needed on this roadway and that the bridge over US 1 would not be widened. The proposed alignment of Richardson Road south of Old US 1 and the future interchange at US 1 have shifted, consistent with Scenario 1. Side path is proposed along Old US 1 highway, consistent with Scenario 1. Bicycle lanes are proposed along New Hill-Holloman Road, consistent with Scenario 1. A similar transit connection from Scenario 1 is envisioned. Scenario 3, titled Expand Transportation Network. Under this scenario, land use intensities have generally increased, with the exception of the rural residential designation along Silver Stirrup Lane. Medium-density residential was added along New Hill-Holloman Road, consistent with previous scenarios. An area of high-density residential office striping was added across from Church Road, consistent with property owner requests in this area. The area around Mason Road and Bosco Road is shown as low-density residential instead of rural-density residential, and connectivity to thoroughfares is anticipated through a collector street and future extension of Mason Road. The alignment of this collector street has shifted south to align with the intersection of Church Road and New Hill-Holloman Road, consistent with a rezoning request in this area. These roadways would include bicycle and pedestrian facilities. The medium-density residential designation from the adopted plan is retained around Friendship Road and extended to the area surrounding Pleasant Plains Road. Similarly, the 3-lane thoroughfare designation with bicycle and pedestrian facilities for Friendship Road has been retained from Scenario 2 and is now also shown for Pleasant Plains Road. Connectivity provided by collector streets with bicycle and pedestrian facilities is shown between Richardson and Friendship Roads and between Friendship Road and Pleasant Plains Road. Changes to the alignment and future interchange location along Richardson Road are consistent with previous scenarios. Opportunities for additional office uses or high-density residential uses are envisioned near the interchange. High-density residential and commercial striping has been added near Friendship Road and Old US 1 Highway, consistent with property owner requests in this area. The side path along Old US 1 Highway has been retained from previous scenarios. The bicycle lanes along New Hill Holloman Road have been retained from previous scenarios. A conceptual transit route that would be expected to have more regular bus service to Pleasant Park along Old US 1 Highway and serving Apex Nature Park is depicted. The 3 plan amendment scenarios will be on display at the meetings and available online. The potential amendments to the adopted plan are called out on the map exhibits. Town staff will be available at the meeting to discuss the 3 plan scenarios with you. All stations at the meeting have the same information. You do not need to visit each station. Input on the 3 scenarios can be provided using your paper survey or through the online survey at www.apexnc.org/WBBAP. We ask that you complete either the paper survey or an online survey, not both, to ensure accurate public input results. On the front page of your comment form, please rank the scenarios in order of your preference, using the number 1 to indicate your most preferred scenario and the number 3 to indicate your least preferred scenario. Please provide any additional written comments on the bottom of your comment form. Note that any one scenario may not be the final recommendation to Town Council, as ultimately a hybrid of the scenarios could be recommended instead. The Western Big Branch Area Plan will include a set of additional recommendations separate from the map amendments. The draft recommendations are informed by the study area vision and goals, as well as the information gathered to date. The draft recommendations are divided into the 5 planning themes that were presented during the August open houses. A poster exhibit of the draft additional plan recommendations is available at both the meeting and on the plan website. Please review the draft additional plan recommendations and provide input through the survey. The next steps in the planning process are to present an update to Planning Board and Town Council, develop a preferred amendment scenario which includes public input as one component of the plan considerations, refine the draft additional plan recommendations based on public input, prepare and release a draft plan document for public comment, and develop a final draft plan and hold public hearings at Planning Board and Town Council. Thank you for viewing this presentation. We look forward to receiving your input on the scenarios and recommendations.